One of the great pleasures of being the presenter of EASD TV is being able to interview the winners of EASD's major prizes. And there is no more prestigious prize than the Claude Bernard. And here with me is Andrew Hattersley, winner and giver of this year's Claude Bernard Lecture. Andrew, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And I did want to ask you, you are Professor of Molecular Medicine at the University of Exeter, you're a consultant diabetologist, but how did you get into diabetes? And then how did you get into research?
Yeah, so I got into diabetes because my best friend at university had type 1 diabetes, and we went in a car around Scotland, and that really exposed me to the difficulties it had to live with type 1 diabetes. And then I found it really suited my personality, and I loved diabetes as a specialty as I went through medical school. And then getting into research, it was really a chance to go to Oxford and to do genetics, which I was really excited to be able to do.
Because at the time, genetics wasn't a big thing, was it? I mean, it wasn't very widely understood or certainly not researched.
No, it was new. I think it was it was quite clear it was going to be big. And because David Weatherall was running it in Oxford, they really were ahead of the game. So it was a place to be at the forefront of research in genetics.
David Weatherall was the legendary professor of medicine at Oxford and who contributed so much to the understanding of hemoglobinopathies and inspirational to his many, many students. But you did make an early discovery that really helped you on your way and kind of reinforced your enthusiasm for research. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I was working on families of maturity onset diabetes as a young, and had a lovely job because I went round and met these families and collected samples from all of them. And then I would go back to the laboratory and make DNA. And I had a chance really to examine one gene. And I happened to choose glucokinase out of the 20,000 genes I could have chosen. And it happened to be positive. So that was enormous luck. And I'm very grateful for that lucky break.
And then another key moment in your career was moving to Exeter. Now, the reasons you moved to Exeter, I suspect strongly, Andrew Hattersley, were much more to do with sailing than they were to do with medicine. Or am I wrong?
Partly right. And also there was a very inspiring person called Sir John Tooke who was running it there. And actually my conversation with him was inspiring, and he turned out to be the most wonderful person to work with. So it was the beauty of the place, but the strength of the people.
So very soon you gathered an extraordinary team around you. And one of the key people, I think, was somebody called Sian Ellard. Tell me about Sian and what that allowed you to do.
Yeah, so what matters wherever you are is the people that you work with. And I was really lucky that Sian applied for the job to set up a new genetics laboratory. And she came as a postdoc in cancer without much experience, but it was clear that she was so bright and insightful, and that's exactly what she did. And with very clear vision, she created a state-of-the-art molecular genetic laboratory in Exeter. And in some ways, the fact that we started from scratch meant we didn't need to get rid of the old technology. We could come straight in with the new, and she continued to keep us at the forefront of genetics for the next 3 decades.
But the thing that you are especially known for is your work on neonatal diabetes. Tell me a bit more about that, because it turned into a kind of global enterprise.
Yeah, well, the start was just a chance conversation with a charming Dutch clinician called Jan Bruning, and he said, we're getting people getting diabetes before 6 months, and they can't have type 1 diabetes. They're far too young for that. And he said, I really need you as a geneticist. So I said, well, I think we could help you. And then he set up and collected samples from around the world. And then Sian in her lab, when Anna Gloyn came and joined, they were then to find the gene that caused the change in the potassium channel. And that was the one that responded to tablets.
But the thing that's become so interesting is that you've found now, well, certainly in your lab, 20, 30 genes associated with neonatal diabetes. And what intrigues me is that not only do some do better on sulfonylurea tablets, but actually some might have a completely different thing that they need doing, like a bone marrow transplant or a liver transplant. And so it's completely transformed the lives of those babies.
Yeah, it has been very exciting to see how things have changed.
And that's now developed into something very big.
Yes, it's been really exciting to see how, because we've got all these samples, we've been able to really use them to find new genes. And that is what practice has changed, is now as soon as you are diagnosed with diabetes in the first 6 months of life, you will send a DNA sample to a genetics lab such as ours, and we will test all of the 43 genes that we know about. And that will allow us to say not only what your diabetes is like, but also what other things you're likely to have. And it's really is precision medicine at its very best. In the latest talk, Elisa DeFranco said that now we can find a gene in 91.5% of patients.
Which is astonishing. So tell me about this, how you went global, Andrew, because did samples just start arriving from all over the world? Because I think you've had samples from almost every country in the world.
Yeah, I think we're up to 117 countries, and it's been really, it's partly been what a fantastic set of communicators paediatricians are. And once we said that we would offer testing for free, initially paid by the Wellcome Trust, that people got in touch, and it has been really heartwarming to be able to make a difference, particularly in low income settings where it makes a massive difference because they just can't afford insulin. And I think that decision to offer the testing has been really critical for also the success in gene finding, because it's meant we've had more samples.
And Exeter, which for those of you who don't know it, Exeter is a very beautiful small town in Devon, but it's now developed this major status because of kind of global impact. And you attract all sorts of people to come and work with you. And in fact, one of the people who came with the best abstract came from your unit.
Yes, I would say it was from Exeter, but it was from Kash Patel's team. And what we've been lucky is to have these brilliant people that have come and done initial research and then often have stayed and created their own teams. And it's that way that things have passed on. And they've all kept the same priority for Exeter, which is make work really fun, make it exciting, and support younger people. And that's carrying on for other people. And that has made a difference.
So what next, Andrew? What do you still want to do?
Oh, well, as I said in the lecture, I really think there is a challenge of bringing precision medicine to type 2 diabetes in a very practical way. And that will be the challenge. And I think I will not see that happen, but John Dennis's recent work has made a big difference. And I think it's going to happen sometime soon.
Well, Andrew, I know from because my spies have already been out there, and they were all raving about your lecture. They thought it was wonderful. It's been an extraordinary career that you've had, but it's brought benefit not only to so many babies, but actually to so many researchers who are now in institutions all over the world. So, Andrew, it's such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Well, you can see the Claude Bernard lecture, of course, online, and I do urge you to go and look at it. The Claude Bernard lecture really distills the whole lifetime of somebody's achievement into one lecture. And as I said, from everything I've heard, it was a wonderful lecture. So do go and look at it.